Hello, welcome back. Today we're discussing fertilizing palms after winter and after the freeze damage. Well, hello. Should you do it? Should you wait? What should you use? And we're also going to cover the different types of fertilizing methods there are available to you on the market and figure out whether there's a right one, a wrong one, whether you're wasting your time, or whether you could hurt your palm trees and actually make them worse. My name is Professor Drin Malop. Hi everybody, my name is Gary Kinnemer. You all know me. Welcome back again. In this video today, we will discuss spikes, liquid, spray, 3-month, 6-week. And we have scientific articles down below in the description showing scientific proof of which one of these has been studied and shown to work. And today we will talk to you about fertilizing your palms and what you should not do and what you should do. If you're new, thanks for joining us, and it's great to have you here. So we're gonna jump right off into it. Number one, the question is fertilizing palms after the winter or freeze. So it's early mid-March right now. Let's start kind of thinking about this and getting the trees greened up now that the weather's warming up. First thing we're going to discuss, fertilizer spikes. If you've ever seen these or used these, you're supposed to hammer these down into your roots area, and they will supposedly slowly feed for months at a time. We're going to go ahead and try to hammer these bad boys in the ground and see what they do. They look kind of crumbly, so I don't know if they hold together. So let's just get started. Let's go ahead and try to get one in the ground real quick. So this is a very soft soil we have here. We shouldn't really have any problems getting these in the ground. Now this is about as soft a soil as you're gonna get. So far that's not working out real good. I didn't really like the way it all broke apart and shattered. The instructions say to hammer it in. And the other thing about it is, I was reading on the instructions, didn't have any coatings that I saw in there, any slow release coatings, protective coatings for the nitrogen or other ingredients. It's, I think, just supposed to last a long time just because they're just mushed into a big mold. So broke apart, didn't really hold up like that, didn't like that at all. And I can tell you, normally, I would not want this type of mass amount of fertilizer all in one cluster feeding a root group. Number one, I just hammered it through the roots and broke and killed them. And now that they're wide open and damaged, now we've got a huge concentrate of nutrients just in that little zone. So around your palm tree, you're just basically doing little dot patterns of hot spots. Because of that reason, I normally say stay away from these, especially with palms. I don't know if they work better on shade trees or plants or anything, but I know with palms, I don't particularly care for them. I would probably say to stay away from the spikes, and especially now that I just saw it shatter all over the ground. So that really wasn't even an easy install in very loose soil. It's not like it's clay or rock soil here. Let's go ahead and just jump right off into the next one. Number two is going to be the slow release fertilizers that are supposed to last 4 months, 6 months, 9 months in your soil. Let's just touch base on that real quick. Those typically are kind of a heavier feeding because you got to get it all down only a couple times a year. So they're going to have you put massive amounts of this stuff down on the ground. Number one, it's a little bit of a stressful feeding, I would think, to go that heavy. But you can look at these plastic pellets right here. See how shiny they are? This is because they're all coated in a plastic-like polymer. That polymer coating is on every ingredient in here to make them last forever. Well, at least their extended time in the soil that they say, like 6 months or whatever it is. I know y'all have seen these, and they're not always going to be this color. In fact, most of them are going to be a really dark green. Some of them are orange, some of them are yellow. I know y'all have seen these in your soil. Even if you didn't put them there, I know you've seen these little plastic BBs. If you moved into a home and you've lived there 5 years and you never fertilized, dig in the bed. You're gonna see these. You'll see them everywhere. They're in different colors. Like I said, they're not always this blue color. Most of the time, they're a green, orange or yellow. But I guarantee you, if you dig up in any soil, you're gonna find those, even if they were put down years ago. So until that coating breaks all the way down, that fertilizer's not in full effect. In a palm tree that's already compromised or struggling from freeze damage, this is not gonna help you immediately. It's not gonna get you results you need. It's not gonna get you the crucial care that your palms need now if this is slowly gonna release over 6 months. Now let's get to the whole 6-month thing. With them needing a heavy amount of fertilizer, a lot of these call for using up to 1 pound per inch of trunk, okay? So this tree trunk here is roughly 16 inches wide. That would be 16 pounds of fertilizer. So what you're gonna see right now, what I'm doing, I'm only putting down 4 pounds of fertilizer out of the 16 pounds recommended. Now, this is 1/4 of what they're telling you to put down. So even if I spread it further into the yard or lawn area, this is still basically the feeding regimen of a lot of those long-term fertilizers that are coated in the heavy plastic-like polymers. So the whole idea is that these pellets will be here in 6 full months. And that's considering that they're not going to go anywhere during 6 months. But that would assume you don't have any raking in your yard, you don't have yard maintenance, you don't have people with leaf blowers blowing out the beds, or assuming that you're not doing other yard maintenance like trimming leaves, or the trees are shedding leaves or anything else like that's going on. You're out here trying to do regular maintenance and you've got leaves to rake up everywhere. Because if that's happening in your yard, you're going to be raking, you're going to be cleaning, and as the guys rake up all those leaves, what do? They get down with their hands, they bundle them into a big pile, and they scoop all that up and they take it into a big garbage can and haul it out. All your fertilizer now just went straight to the dump. That's not even considering that there may be heavy rainfall. So these heavy plastic beads are made to stay like that. Let's look at what happens in the water. Whee! There they go. I'd be willing to bet none of those granules are there in 6 months. And that's still beside the fact that I'm saying your stressed trees need this now.
So again, leaf falling from trees, regular maintenance, blowing, raking, I'd be willing to bet none of those granules are there in 6 months. And that's still beside the fact that I'm saying your stressed trees need this now.
Imagine 6 months of that, or 9 months of that. How many of these pellets do you think would be in your yard? That's not even including rainfall. So, not a big fan of that one. And on a whole other issue, I'll make another video addressing those microplastic polymer little balls that are actually floating and getting into the waterways where the wildlife, fish, and other things are as well. I want to touch on that pretty soon because that's a whole nother topic on these heavy polymer plastic fertilizers. Next one is going to be these handy dandy little spray and hose end sprayers. They got the food in them. Just click and spray it. You can water the ground. It works good. It gets into the soil good. The problem is the frequency of it calls for about every 7 days. Well, the problem is not everybody wants to sit and do this every 7 days. While they may be in a soluble form that would work pretty quick, you can see me spraying. You can probably see it running off right out of the bed. See it down here? It's just pouring out of the bed everywhere. How much of this is getting into the ground? You know, is any of it getting in the ground? How long do I have to stand here and do this? You know, who knows? Well, this may be an okay method if you have a fertigation irrigation system that slowly injects it daily. That's good. This is just kind of an unknown. Unless you have sandy soil or something that percolates real easy, this is running right off of the surface. And near waterways, all that fertilizer would have just ran right off into the water. But I don't think it's really appropriate for palms and big, heavy, deep-rooted trees. This one's probably going to be an X also. This leads us to the next option. We covered the water-soluble, the hose end sprayer, instant, right? Works instantly, should absorb instantly, but there's some problems with that. The 6-month, 9-month application, we covered that. So there's some fertilizers that are 3 and 4 month, but it's still a matter of how much is left. Those thick plastic polymer things, which again, I'll cover in another video because it's a lot of information. Or there's a happy medium between that, the 3 and 4 month, and the liquids, which is a 6 to 8 week. I'm a big fan of palm fertilizers that are built for 6 to 8 weeks. There's a few of them on the market. Some have different blends and ingredients than others. You know which one I'm going to talk about today. It's the fan favorite because the way it's built and everything that's in there. But again, there are other fertilizers that are 6 to 8 week. But you know the one I'm going to talk about. I talk about it in all the videos, and there's a reason. It's the way it's made. It's one of the fertilizers that actually changes the quantities during the seasons based on the temperature. So you still use this in the winter, but light feeding. And then spring and fall, it's a little bit heavier, medium feeding. Summertime, when the plants are uptaking maximum amounts of nutrients and nitrogen, you'll use this a little heavier. But it's still nowhere near as heavy, putting 8 to 10 pounds down like earlier. This would have called for probably 1 pound of fertilizer. It would have been 2 handfuls of product. The other thing that I like about it, the 2 forms of iron and magnesium. You've got 2 different types of ingredients in here. So depending on your soil pH, things like that, soil type, if one form can't uptake at maximum levels, then the other one can. So there's a lot of benefits to this, not to mention the little scooper that's included. I want to show you the ingredients real quick, comparing these 2. Come in closer real quick and I'll show you what we just looked at before. See these plastic little BBs? They're super shiny, they look polished, like little pearls. That's all that heavy plastic coating on there. Now look at this blend. This is that perfect palm blend. Nothing shiny here. They almost look like little irregular rocks and triangles in different shapes. Nothing shiny here. And actually the light green is a special XCU coating. This is a combo of sulfur, wax. There is a thin layer of polymer, but it barely even, you can't even see it. Like, it doesn't stay on the soil or in your face visually like a lot of the other ones. Because there's so many coatings, it allowed us to safely feed every 6 to 8 weeks using this one. So you're feeding every 6 to 8 weeks. You're not leaving these plastic pellets all in the ground, which I showed you can actually even float away. Where this, a lot of these are water soluble. When they get wet, they'll start sticking. When I sprayed those little blue plastic BBs and they still rolled off, if I put this on the ground, it starts diluting down and it'll adhere and bond to a lot of the soil. So you don't really have as much of an issue as that as you would the traditional heavy coated fertilizers. That's one of the reasons, like I said, that this is a go-to product for us. We can use it on containers, field grow, and everything else. There's other fertilizers out there that are 6 to 8 week. I'm just showing you the different options. Not a big fan of the spikes. You're destroying the roots. You're driving a stake through its heart. It's like Dracula. It reminds me of like, you know, like you're trying to kill something. They shattered. They're not a control release. The one I have here today was not a control release. I'm not saying they all aren't, but it's still even a concentrated area. I don't think that's a good option as opposed to having even uniform coverage. Then you got the plastic BBs that are way long-term intentions. But after watching this, do you really think of all the yard work you do? You're out here trying to do regular maintenance. And rain and wind, that even 50% of those BBs, those pellets would be there in a few months, much less 6 months. No way, no way. The 6 to 8 week release fertilizers are the way to go. Like I said, there's a few of them. This is the one you're going to hear me talk about it. Perfect Palm. There are other ones though. And we have scientific articles down below in the description showing scientific proof of which one of these has been studied and shown to work. Because this is the one we believe in and this is what we use. It's, in my opinion, the best you can get. There's more nutrients, higher quantities, different types. They're in a ready, soluble uptake form. You don't have to wait for it to convert over into a usable form. There's so many things that go on and on and on. It is time to feed. Your trees are stressed coming out of winter, especially if they just got hit with a heavy freeze. But you don't want a heavy feeding. Imagine if you were lost at sea on a boat, and instead of somebody bringing you an IV or some hydrating thing, they handed you a steak. It was like, eat all this in about a minute, you'll feel much better. you're not going to feel better. The trees are going to respond the same way. We're going to pace ourselves back into this. We're going to get everything green again, but it's got to be doing it in a controlled, safe manner that works for the palm and actually works for the environment. It's just as important that you're not destroying the environment. I know everybody wants to heal their tree, and I know human nature is, it didn't look like this before. I'm going to put a bunch down because I'm going to get it green again. And I get it. You don't want to stare at a brown tree or one that you trim the top of it off. It's your human instinct. You're going to try to apply the heaviest rates or even exceed the rates. I'm begging you, don't do that. For the soil, the ecosystems, you can really throw off the microbes, everything in the soil that you need, and then the runoff. The waterways, the wildlife, the fish, all that. You have to be a steward of the environment while you're trying to save your palms. And I want y'all to really listen to me. That's extremely important to me. And we'll even cover that in some of the other videos moving forward. But for now, it is time to feed. So let's get it on there. You can try some of these methods if you want. I'm just showing you the different ones that were available at a near garden center. I went and snatched a bunch up so I could show you today. Thanks for watching. See you next time. I was even waving you in.
I'm sorry.
All right, you ready? You're out here trying to do regular maintenance. Not to be confused with my father. This is my father's name, Drin Malap II. But I am Drin Malap III. Yes. Drin Malap III. It's a proud family name. I always thought it was because I was the